My smile makes the world shine with it. The lyrics of the classic song. It's like being born for the Joker. After the first part, the smile of blood that the clown drew on his turning the coffin into a giant circus, chanting his name. Dance foot flute down the last rung of morality. Joker completes the journey of corruption. Couldn't be more persuasive than mine. Behind the edge of the Arkham Asylum. It's a perfect ending for a great character. I also have to admit that I was a little surprised and disappointed when director Todd Phillips used a sequel called Fuller Theodore to try to reverse that dance, throw After Black into a test, where he had to question himself about his trigger clicks. So the journey, pick up the last bit of humanity of this character. What do you want to say about self and repentance? Phillips has 2 hours and 18 minutes to demonstrate to the audience his vision. Get the starting point. It was the author's miserable time. After killing a total of 6 people, including a celebrity host, Marie Franklin. The story takes a sudden turn when we learn about at a trial. According to the lawyer, the main character can escape the death penalty if you can prove that Arthur Fleck and Joker, they're 2 completely separate personalities. You need to make the jury believe the person wearing the mask isn't actually me. It's a cover to cover the past. Abused and abandoned. It's a monster born of trauma. Here's what you need to do for Joker 2. These are imaginary segments with great length and great frequency. Focus entirely on the cells inside the crazy house. Movies missing the rats, a pile of trash, or a dirty alley. Instead, there's this endless hallucination in the clown's head. Looking forward to the return of Gotham, of metaphors, reflect class and social inclusion. There's a high probability that you will be disappointed. The characters fight right now. It's a battle in the mind. Life is trying to find the answer between a Joker honored as a saint and the author is thin and weak. Who is the real personality? This creates the first problem. It's a world without depth. The compassion the audience has. Cho. The lack of billionaires like Thomas Wayne, always teaching the way. The film has lost a valuable perspective, especially after part 1. The clown has a huge following. But in part 2, this cult has become humorously weak when making noise more than the real impact, important decisions of the film, except for the only action at the end. It was directed by Charles Phillips. I want to be sarcastic. The God is praised Joker. It's just a name, or completely forgotten the short-throated ones he represents. But even one of the 2, ignoring the main factor that led to the Joker's fall, that the fall sometimes becomes trivial, not to mention the setting neatly placed in Arkham. The author segments are beaten. It will not carry weight, like when you're hanging out in the alley on the street. Because we all know there are only criminals here, psychopaths and gangster jailers. I also thought making the hospital the center. It's aimed at criticizing the poor infrastructure that the city government used to treat individuals psychologically affected. But even so, the prisoners are next door. Authors or people with batons. It is not deeply exploited. There are no pictures under the regime nor exploit the lives of small people. Same situation at Coffin. Fuller lacks depth. That 5 years ago it did really well. And did anyone find the guards too short-sighted, dare to move with the author the night before the trial? Not just a word, the Joker's media. There are hundreds of extremists. We will search those prisons. Where were the crazy crowds when their saint needed? Everything was even worse in the author's trial. Just like the judge said, Joker has really turned this into a circus. That can be understood. The film wants to condemn the media through the repetitive imagery of television sets, and the press is always around like hungry vultures. They don't care who's the killer, guilty or innocent. I just want the Joker on air to get views. But in the end, because the context is so narrow, so disconnected, the movie becomes one-sided and simply put Joker in the dirtiest possible place. Meet as many bad people as possible, get as much as possible, and he's got the only way is clinging to royal dreams. Failed at the construction of Gotham. It's worse than the Joker. What the movie sacrificed all the other aspects to focus on. Not really good either. To embellish the escape scenes from reality, Todd Phillips decided to introduce a musical element into the story. With me personally, genre interference is not a hindrance to viewing, because as I remember, an author is someone who has music in his heart. He dreams of singing what he wants. The same beautiful girl is perfectly understandable. The only thing that matters is that Phillips itself is probably not strong on this. In a way that's not clear whether it's intentional. All the songs in the movie, they all sing in the same way. Let's start with slow motion, followed by the rumbling of Lady Gaga or Joaquin, along with smoke. The first night we were together. Romantic atmosphere is extremely well done, mixed with grief. The second and third time, the same pattern can be temporarily accepted, but by the time this recipe is repeated for the fourth time, I lost my patience and hope for the tempo. Rise up so that the choreography ends soon, except for the song with the title character. The scene we saw in the trailer, when he hit the judge on the head with a hammer. The rest are almost all love songs. Correct delivery of a single context. That's Joker's crush on Harley Quinn. You are the new light of his life. It's not a lot of singing, it's a musical. The movie is missing is to use those melodies to move the story forward. The second half of the movie is almost no progress, just hanging around under these paranoid dances over and over again, just to show us the contrast in the midst of cruel reality and the desire to love everyday life in the midst of being Joker. Or return to the author. It's what the audience has memorized. After watching the first part, why sing another basket of classics to bring up old problems? Not even the author has ever questioned his conscience before you put on your Joker identity. So what's the mission of this second part? With all of the above, the only thing we can talk about, the musical part of the film, it's these picturesque frames. Color layout is used deliberately. Same 10-point performance as usual or Phoenix Lily. You still prove that. I am one of the actors, the most talented of his generation, and no matter how bad the movie scores, then the applause. That's what this guy deserves. Same with the role of Lady Gaga. And we're not talking about visual or acting, because we don't have to consider those things. Your character was less impressive from the script pages. Being advertised is an important piece of the puzzle. Harley Quinn was built in a surprising way. She appeared as a fan of Joker. Love at first sight. And then I keep forgetting to introduce myself. Title: Fuller. The name indicates mental disorder. Share a person affected because of the other person's psychological problems. And in the movie, it's highly likely that this is the Fuller Simultani branch. It's about two individuals who are independently psychotic. When you are close, make illusions become similar. Not unlike the conjecture that Joker will infect Harley Quinn. You seem to be crazy. It's even crazier than my idol. This makes Joker's lover plays an extremely contradictory with what the work is about. Why? Because as we see it, Arthur Fleck is a very passive character, even in the first part. Therefore, if it's a war in your own mind, you are also dependent on Hollywood. Go find it yourself. The ego is also dragged from one place to another. Even crazy people have to borrow. How much should the audience feel for the final transition? At the end, how should this Joker be viewed? If you change just because someone else says that personality is wrong, is misleading, a good character, maybe you don't have to stand for justice, but there must be a belief. Joker keeps getting passed from one person to another, and he looks so small. Take off Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn makeup. She's not too different from Sophie. The same woman that most of the time is depicted through the imagination one way by Arthur Fleck. Two lost people fall in love in a lost work. Speaking of the end, it seems Todd Phillips is also aware of my 2019 movie has caused misunderstandings about the promotion of violence, so we have an ending inspired by the Breaking Bad series. A much clearer message. The cost of crime. The last 15 minutes of the movie did well. It shows us an endless loop. How much chaos did the Joker send to Gotham? Gotham will give him back his karma. It's very easy and almost impossible to understand. If you reveal more, it will be a spoiler, so maybe we'll let you experience it for yourself outside the theater. All in all, works like Joker need a lot of subtlety, because you just need to get rid of it a little bit. We've seen the film's message warped. For me, a piece of life can't meet a good person. A society that doesn't take a fairly one-sided opportunity. And if we have to take an example, we'll see Lee's Carbon film. It's also about the bottom. But hope, it's what's always in the eyes of children. That's where the lessons we get. A completely different color. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. Like a character on the ground. To be forcibly pushed into a hopeless situation. See what Jack in the back is singing. That's life. That's a message. You may find this review too harsh, but for me, every Joker movie is an important movie, both in film and in real life. Not a few people idolized him, say what he says, do what he does, and believe what he believes. So despite the bravery of the team, when it's definitely going in a different direction, it's hard to say. The second part of The Crime Prince, it's a successful experiment. As the Kafka by the Seashore says, it all starts with the imaginary position question. It's our responsibility. It starts with the ability to imagine. Think of life as a stage. Maybe this time Arthur Fleck played the Joker too much for me. And Todd Phillips, I can't be responsible either for your dreams and vision.